technology evolution. We haven't even talked about 5G. But one thing, I'll talk about a couple minutes because it's important for your listening audience. 5G is the fifth generation of cell phone communications. In up to 1G was an analog signal. It meant it went up and down in a cycle. And that's like taking a 10,000-pound steel bar, putting on a piece of concrete, and the concrete won't break. 2 to 4G, which are the next generations, became digital signals. So those digital signals became on and off, on and off. And so what is that? That's the same 10,000 pounds to the concrete, but it's going up and down, up and down. It's becoming a jackhammer. That's why the cells and the body react more negatively to 2 to 4G than 1G. 5G is coming along, and we talked about 2 billion gigahertz is 2 gigahertz is 2 billion cycles per second, right? Well, 5G goes up to 300 gigahertz. That's 300 billion cycles per second. But what's also true is the algorithms they use to encode and decode the signal, there's actually 2 on, off. So it's MIMO, multiple in, multiple out. So you have not only just a faster speed, but you now have on, off, that will be hitting the cell at the same time. Is that good, or is that, I don't know. No one can tell you if it's good or bad because no one has any research. And so 5G is a big human experiment that's going on without any real justification of safety, which, of course, as you can tell in my voice, I'm not too happy about. But I do know this, for example. If I had a 90 gigahertz transmission directed towards you, your sweat glands, which are like a helical insert at the surface of your skin, acts as an antenna at 90 gigahertz. So it absorbs that transmission. And it's not 80 gigahertz, it's not 100 gigahertz, it's 90 gigahertz, which is smack dab in the middle of 5G. What happens? Your skin gets really, really hot. What is that? That's crowd control. That's what we use for crowd control. We use a 90 gigahertz signal that we project towards a crowd to disperse the crowd. And so we know that certain technology speeds are going to have a different impact than others. Here's one example of one. It's also true, by the way, that if you're near a cell tower within 1,000 feet, that cell tower will, those who are within 1,000 feet of a cell tower are 3 times more likely to have a cancer. With 5G, they have to be 850 feet separated because those 5G signals can't go very far. So they're going to be every couple of houses. Literally, it's true. And what we also know is bugs, viruses, bacteria, they like the faster speeds. In fact, they flourish in those higher speeds. I'm not sure we do. In fact, I know the reverse is true. So there are a lot of kinds of potential symptomatic problems in the future as we evolve these technologies that you got to be worried about and manage in your life.
I live in New York City where they're rolling out 5G. Do I have the right to know where?
Yeah.
And do I have?
I'll tell you.
What can I do? I mean, I can't.
I'll tell you a story. The neurologist I mentioned before, he called me on a Saturday morning one day. He said, my head is killing me. He had just moved into a little place in the mountains somewhere. And he said, something's going on in my environment. I can't figure it out. I said, go to your router. And he went to the router. He looked underneath it, and it was a 5G router. They were actually eliminated the wires to his building, and they had a wireless connection to a 5G cell tower. And I said, get it out of your office. Get it out of your house, I mean. and he took it out. 2 hours later, he was fine. So do not get a 5G service if you can avoid it. Because that distance is your friends, as I've said before. Distance is a friend. You want to minimize that, and particularly you want to minimize this. In fact, I call the 5GB, bees in the room, to be the Mexican bee coming across, killer bee, because it's so different than all the other bees in our environment.
Will the shielding fabrics help protect against 5G?
The stuff you're talking about is probably good up to 10 to 20 gigahertz. In New York, it could be somewhere between 23 and 38. So
can you
it's
design?
close.
Can you design something to help protect us from 5G?
I'm sure people are going to do that. Well, everyone's working on it, including us. Okay. I mean, but the technologies we have to apply are very different than the technologies we've done in the past, unfortunately.
I heard in Singapore, I don't know if this is true, but pregnant women are required to wear shielding material around their belly.
I just told you why. You're 3 times more likely to have a miscarriage. 3 times more likely on a standard RF signal. That's scary stuff. And in fact, there, along with other parts of Europe, they have clothing that you can buy for that kind of protection. And it's normal cost of stuff. It's not like this obscure thing that exists. There are companies building this stuff for that very purpose.
So if I wanted to buy some, what should I look for to identify ones that are effective? Like, would they be certified?
Look at a technical term is dB, decibels. If it's above 40 or 50 decibels in its capacity, then it's probably pretty good. That's starting to be pretty high. But if it's 10, it's almost doing nothing. It's a little simple measure. Many of them have that data there, but you make sure you look for it. At about 70, it's almost 100% shielding.
You should make like caps so we can put them on our children's heads when they walk around.
Well, I don't know if we actually have children's earbuds we're building because it disturbs me so much that kids are using this stuff at such an early age. And we know that there are neurological impacts. Behavioral problems. In the U.S., we never talk about behavioral problems related to electromagnetic radiation. In Europe, it's a general discussion. A fact. There is a clear, well-understood perspective in Europe and measures and metrics to establish the potential dangers to kids with this kind of stuff. So it's really interesting.